Righto, so welcome along today. Get back into it. It's been a bit of a break. It's been too busy. But, so today we're going to take a look at the change manager tool. So how we're going to deal with amendments and changes once we have basically published the first set of drawings. And we need to then have a process then to manage what information is going out and what's been changed so everyone knows where everything is. So the first thing you do when you have a project is we need to create an issue. So you need to take the drawings when it's ready to go to whatever stage it is, whether it's a consent stage or construction or pricing, and say this is the starting point. So you need to, at that point, I'm not going to get into sort of maybe the technicalities and the background of the change manager either. It's more about just how you would use it on a day-to-day basis and leave it up to the managers and project managers to have implemented everything else in the background. So it's more about what you need to do when you're making changes, so you know what to do. So the first thing will be that there will be a drawing set set up, and this is the start point of our first issue. So when you are ready to publish that first set of drawings, first thing we need to do is to, hold on, and I'll get rid of that just as a, so the first thing you need to do is create an issue. So we need to find our change manager and activate that. So come into document, change manager, and that brings up this palette here. I find if you're going to be working in the change manager, say, for a period of time rather than just coming in to make a change and get back out or whatever, I find it's best to try and just dock this over on the side of your screen so it's sitting there and gives you more screen or more stuff to look at and know what's going on. So the first thing you need to do is come down to the issue history and create a new issue. So we click down here, new issue, give it a name. So if we just say this one is building consent, and we can go OK. And what that does is it goes through and it brings up all the drawings that you have created that haven't been published yet as part of this process. If you are only wanting to publish a part set of drawings, you can actually then delete drawings out of the list by just clicking on this cross here, and you can find out a bit more about what's in that revision, in that drawing, by clicking on the I button. So once you've started populating revisions through the model, if you click on this I button for a certain page, it'll show you a list of changes and markers that are applying on that page. You can also change sort of how the IDs operate, but again, it's probably more of a management role than just a day-to-day role, so I'll leave that out. So now that we've decided to publish our set, we've clicked create issue, and now to finish that off, we need to close it. So we've decided that these are all the drawings that we're going to publish for our building consent documentation. So we close issue, and now it's just turned all those black, and it's turned this black, and it says that now we've got a building consent issue. We click OK. So the things that we will see from that is if we go to a drawing, it will now come down here in the revision history and tell us that this page has been published on the 11th of the 3rd, and it's revision ID 1. Now this box here might change a wee bit. This is just the sort of the default setup at the moment, so it's going to give us the revision ID. So that's the published set, or the times that page has been published, and the change ID will be relating to the actual number of any revision that you make, so they'll all be numbered. and the change name will be the what do you call it, the name that you give to the description that you give to the change. So they will all populate in here. Now, if we have sent out our building consent set, and now we've gone through and decided that we wanted to change everything that we've just done about the building, as we do, and we need to go making it so that someone who's picking up the plans now knows what all the changes are. So I'm not going to physically make the changes on here. I'll just show you how to mark what you've done as a change. So just say we've changed some of these walls and windows and claddings and such like. We come down here and we go to the change tool, and this brings up our toolbox. This is where we can now start identifying all the changes. So if we just start off and we'll label them successively from 001, maybe we'll say here window change glass. So I'm going to create a new change. So the options here are to create a new change, place a linked marker. It's not shown because I've got no markers to link to, and place an unlinked marker, which you're probably not going to use that much. We want to be able to keeping our markers sort of linked to the drawing in some way. So for this first one, we'll create a new change. You can customize how the marker looks down here. Types of markers. We can then change the text if we need to, and we can change the style of the marker head. So unfortunately, we can't sort of get that triangle to spin around a point like we do here, preferably to the left or the right or whatever where the wall is. So sort of got to make the best choice of those two, really. Down here is whether you want to have a line from the marker to whatever it is that you're marking. So if we're just going to be putting a marker to say that something's changed there, we can turn that off. Choose a layer, and we've generally in our setup we've got the Multos Mercanat, I think it's J7 as the layer for that sort of thing. So generally you'll need to put it on that. Now the other thing you need to remember is when you place the marker, you need to think about what drawing, what it relates to. So like if you're placing it on the floor plan, but it's in relation to the Alicato drawings, you're not going to place it on the J7 Multos Mercanat marker layer, because that's not going to be showing up when you show your Alicato drawings, because that's going to be showing up when you show your floor plan drawings. So then you need to say, well, okay, it relates to the ceiling, so maybe it's just put it on the same layer as the ceiling markers. So same as any of those things where you're sort of using a different combination of layers than you would normally use for your main drawing. But if it's something that relates to, say, structure that's actually, or something that's going to show up on all of those drawings, well, then you need to also think about how that's going to relate through all of the drawings as well. So you might need to either create a special marker layer or choose one that you know is going through all the drawings. So if we just choose this one here for now. Okay, so we've got window glass change. So maybe we've changed this window here. So we'll put that there. Hey. Let's go. I was just trying to place the marker on its own without any clouds. So these ones here are allowing you to place a marker in a cloud. So, so I've got that there. And here now, what that's done is it's brought my details of my marker up here. It's telling me that this marker is on the ground floor plan. Now I can say, well, that marker relates to this window. And the next one, come on. Okay, so now we're saying that this change affects these elements. So now I can come over here and go to this little button down here and link selection to change and click. And now it's saying that this marker relates to these specific elements. So what happens there is it recognizes that, so it links this change to those elements so that when that element shows up on a drawing, it's going to prompt you a sign or a message when you go to publish the next set of drawings that there's been a change on these drawings because of this element sort of thing. So it clearly defines for you all the changes so you can then manage them from there. And again, too, like once on, say, an elevation, it will then recognize that that window is in an elevation, so it will mark that. While it won't put a marker on the page, I think it highlights that that page has got a change on it, an element that's been changed. Now, if we want to say maybe this window here has been changed as well, so now we can go and place another marker. There it is there. Yeah, you can still change all that. What I want to do now is actually I want to place a linked marker. So I go here and so it's now telling me that, you know, this is the list of markers that I've got active. So I can choose that one, so it's the only one, and place it down here. But it's just say this time I want to put a cloud around, so I can do that. Why is it going to edit it? So that's now put a cloud around the area and put a marker outside. So then I might turn that line back on. So it all links up to there. So then I can now say that window there also applies to change 001, and that brings it into that dialog box there. So maybe change 2 could be, we change the toilet setting brand. So if we go create a new marker, it changed, and then down here and click on there. So number 2 is that our toilet has been changed some way. So we go here now, click on toilet changed, and tell it that that object is part of that change. So now we've been through our project and we've made our first 50 changes or whatever. It's Kirsty's first day after the publishing. We now want to go and publish our new drawing. So if we come here, we can see that these markers are now showing up on our drawing. It's also telling us in the title block that we've got revision ID number 2, which is a work in progress, has these changes, and because it hasn't been published yet, it's just saying it's still a work in progress, and these are what the changes were. Now, one thing we can do, I was actually just in process before, is we can tell that label to, there we go. Show watermark. bizarre. That is meant to have a watermark through it that says work in progress, so that when you publish the drawing before you, when you print the drawing before it publishes, you can see that it's not an officially issued drawing yet. It's still being worked on to save any confusion. But why is it not working? I'm not sure why that's not working. Unfortunately, it worked when I showed the talent office, but not today. So that's now saying that we've got this work in progress. So if we publish this, it's still going to be work in progress, so it's not officially published. So now what we want to do is go through and publish new drawings. And you can see the changes over here that this drawing's gone blue and these are black. So it's indicating that there are changes sitting in that sheet. We can also list our drawings just by the issue. So our first issue, this hasn't changed because our first issue was every drawing, and that's still our current issue. But so we can sort of go there and see what we published and then see what's changed. And then when we do a new issue, this tree by current issue will only show the drawings that we've published in this current set. And just to go back to that little text box object thing as well, in here we can manage what revisions it actually shows. So, I mean, with that first revision being just the publishing of the drawings, we might not want to show that necessarily in our revision box, so we could turn that off. But if we want to, we can include it in our box. Yeah, but it's depending on how you want to publish. So, and then showing latest revisions. So if you want, so like in a project where we have lots of revisions and you only want to be showing the list of the current revisions, we can tell it just to show the latest revisions only. So it's not going to list, 100 revisions. And also, if for some reason you want to filter revisions for some reason, maybe this could have been a solution for our building consent and construction revisions. So you could give some revisions depending on what they're for, like a extra letter or something to start, so you can define that they're a different revision that you want to be able to sort on them for some reason. So if you need to be doing that sort of thing, well, we can filter in there. But, so that's just basically that. So now if we go back to the publishing, we've got our changes. Now we want to publish, so we come back down here to our change manager in our issue history. Close that one up, and now we want to create a new issue. So it's something, okay, continue anyway. So we'll call this one And down here too, we've also got the option of telling it in this revision what we want to show. Do we want to show the latest revisions only, or none, or since a particular issue? So we'll just go of the latest revision only and go OK. So now it's created a new set called revision set 1, and it's told me that this drawing here, ground floor plan, has got some changes on it. So if I'm happy with that, I go close issue. Or I can also, before I said you can delete some drawings, just say you've got some drawings which maybe, I don't know, they might not have a formal change on them or something, but you want to include them in this issue. You can add some layouts to this set as well. So if you, for whatever reason, it was a plumbing set or something like that, and you wanted some other drawings for the plumbing people, you could add them in. So now if we go close issue, that has now just created revision set 1 containing that drawing there, and that revision has got revisions 1 and 2 in it. So the window's changed and the toilet's changed. So if we go OK, we come back to our drawing. So now we've got revision 1 and revision 2 with the windows changed with today's date. So they've shown up there, and also now we've gone with the the tree by current issue, so only showing the current drawings has now reduced that to just that single drawing. If you find out, and then this is not sort of the greatest practice, but if you find out you've done something wrong, missed a drawing or missed a change or something like that, you can go back in. It's not the end of the world just because you've issued your drawing. So you can go back in and issue history, select that last revision, and click on here to reopen that. So by reopening it, you're able to add some more layouts or do some other changes, or you can actually delete it completely and keep working and then reissue again. So when I've done that, nothing's changed with what I've done. It's only in how that I've handled the management of the changes. So, but again, it's probably not good practice to be going back and forward, reopening revisions and stuff like that. So it's best to have a process and do it on a regular basis and stick with it. So if we just quickly redo that one again. Let me reopen. Oh, I must have cancelled it. Right, so if we go new issue there. And the other thing is, unfortunately, you can't sort of manually in here change that date. So it's going by, when you did it, it's taking the date and doing that automatically. And the same as being issued by. So whoever's issuing this revision set, it's going to record who's done it, so we can track you down. So now I've closed that one there. So now if we want to go and do some other changes, because now we've decided we want to change everything back again. No, we want to do something different. So if we change this door. And that's that door there. We add that to there. Now, one thing with this adding stuff to the marker, to the change, only works if the object is in the same file as you're putting the markers in. So if you've got a file that's hot links and stuff, and the changes relate to the hot link module, you can't select that object and assign it to the change, unfortunately. So it's some of these bigger projects with lots of hot link stuff is a bit of a pain, but the fact that you've got the marker in the right places as much as we get most times anyway, so it's just a bonus if you can do that. Now, if we were to say, look at the elevations, that will be no, wrong one. Which is that window we changed? Oh, okay. see any elevation markers there. It must be that door there we just changed, wasn't it? Ah, there. No, let's see. I don't know why we're in this plane. There we go. Yeah, right. So now I've selected that door, found it. And then when I selected it, it's told me that is that door there. It's part of a change. And now if I was to go to the elevation page, and what else is this? Yeah, so now that I've updated the drawings, it's now told me that there's a change on that page, and it's recognized it by the fact that that door was linked to the change marker. So if you link, or if you're able to link your object's elements to your change markers, and then when you're ready to publish your drawings and you update all your drawings before you publish, it will then automatically identify all the pages where there are changes. And if you've forgotten to put a marker on it, so now I can come to that page and go, okay, there's a change there, and I've obviously forgotten to put the marker. So I can come into my elevation and place that marker on the elevation. So that was that one there. So now my elevation will be up to date. So if I just now go issue, I haven't made any, oh, that was a new issue, wasn't it? Issue history, new issue. So now it's telling me that my north and south elevation has been updated, and that's the publishing of the set. So close issue, and then that shows up in there. So that's basically just how the change marker system works, in sort of the simplest way, how we sort of want everyone to sort of start working with it. And it's one of those things too that is, you can try and see what you can do with it. Like if you just need to experiment with it to sort of find out how it works and stuff like that. But so if you've got any questions, come and give us a yell. But sort of just as a day-to-day use of the change marker, that's probably the guts of everything that you need to know. So anyone got any questions?
I do have a question. The dates only appear once you create a new issue. So as long as you don't create a new issue of all the changes you made, it won't
Yeah, so it'll keep tallying up, and it'll just say work in progress until you actually push it. Yeah. So you could print a set. Yeah. So I mean that's probably a safeguard too, so that when you set the drawings out of the office, they can't be taken as an official published set because it says work in progress. So until you've got that date on there, then it's not an official, we're ready to release type drawing. Yeah.
That's why, like, often, you can trigger the parameter that you show there on top of the text level. And you may decide that it is fine for this project for this moment, and we show the actual date in which we issued the drawing. But sometimes you may prefer to show kind of a fake date because, let's say, officially it has been agreed that you have to deliver the drawing in this particular day, but you start printing already some drawings some day before, or sometimes it happens also that you print some days after, but for legal purposes, so you can trigger and change it in that text level, like all the parameters that you like, and you may want to put like just another date.
Because you can change the date.
No, you cannot change that date, but you can show another parameter showing your desired date through the parameters that are into the sheets.
And another thing too is that when the master template is set up properly, which it should be, this revision here will automatically update too. So each time you publish. So if we go back actually and undo that one. Yeah, it'll tell you that it's still a work in progress. So that sheet is sort of is a safeguard to not being taken as an official drawing. And then one other thing too I remembered was like if you have entered information and you want to change what the marker actually says, you can reopen it and come in here and unlock it and change the text. So you can change that and you can change the ID generally. So and what we were looking to do too is that the issuing process should be actively managed by someone who would then, before issuing, they're not going to just randomly go, right, it's all ready to go, let's push the button and it all goes out. They will need to check through to make sure that the numbering is consistent and stuff like that, and there's not double ups of numbers, because if 2 or 3 people are entering changes at the same time, it can take the same next number, and then it doesn't seem to juggle them. But there are some ways in here of sort of overriding that numbering with an automatic sequential number, but for now it's just easy to keep the numbering up in here and manage it as we publish.
Room numbers and that
Room numbers.
Yeah. Where is the change happening? For example, in the program, of course, we have a
So meaning if we've made a change and we can tie it to that, yeah. If you tie your change to that zone.
Yeah, but I have to somehow link it with that.
Yeah, you need to do that manually. So through.
Okay, it doesn't make the same.
Yeah, so if you.
It's good way in a paper. Another system when it tells that what is the play space in that drawing. But the muutoskone will bring that okay. Now it change maybe in the kitchen. Yeah, and I just muutoskone because they are so cheap and all that they couldn't buy.
But there you'll be able to tell it that the kitchen, that change to whatever's in that kitchen.
But why now you have that room number in your.
Oh well, hold on. That was a. No, sorry. I thought I'd added the zone. I've added the slab. Yeah. Now, yeah. So now I've added the zone to that marker. So now wherever that zone shows up, it will recognise.
It doesn't tell anything in the.
Or if you want to say that the window in the kitchen was specifically changed, can you link both the zone and
Yeah, you can link. So say that one there, 01.
you can link the O1 change to the zone and the window, and essentially it'll tell you that the zone and the window.
Yeah, there's been a change in that zone.
In this part,
So-
you may want to show Tony that then, like, you showed how you can add an extra marker in the facade if there's a need to. You may show the other way around. That like now you are linking this change to the zone, but eventually that zone is also in like the ceiling drawing. But you don't want to talk about the change in the window that occurred in that room. But it will be there anyway, because if the zone is showing us there. So you may individually, like sheet by sheet, take away that changes.
So it's showing you the
when-
ceiling, you
Yeah,
can remove it.
yeah. From the properties of the sheet.
Nämä kaikki projektit on semmoisia, missä on eri tiedostoissa eri kikkareiksi, että on linkittää mitään kuin.
Yeah, so you can just. So what Antonino was explaining was come to the drawing. You can open up the layout revision history, and then change it. So this one, obviously, you can't see the toilet change, and it has got the change glass, so we can go OK, and then it takes that out of that set.
That's from the individual
Yeah.
sheet.
Yeah.
Ja toi oli oikeasti niin surkea sitten, kun on iso pohja ja paperita ei tippua sitä.
Sitten se pitää varmaan siihen tekstiin laittaa, kun sä linkität sen. Sä linkität sen infon siihen, niin sitten siitä laitat, että se on.
Kyllä se pitää sitä niin.
Niin.
What is good about this system is that you set it properly. It helps you a lot with the automation of things. But at the same time, you have like a lot of manual control. You can selectively alter what you prefer to show.
And then one other thing too that you can do is if you've been able to link the marker to elements, you can then go through that, choose the marker, and then say where is that change, and by clicking on it, it takes you to that element that you've linked, so you can find exactly where you are in the model to go back and check it out. Better than Revit. So yeah, so that's pretty much changes in a nutshell. So yeah, if that's all, we'll wrap it up now. But yeah, if you've got any questions, just come back to me and ask. But try and then it's important to remember, set it up at the start, or start using it from the start, and then go through and publishing your drawings properly, rather than this willy-nilly publishing stuff, and then having to try and work out how you're going to manage the revisions after you've sent out 2 or 3 sets of changes and stuff like that. So anyone tells you to do otherwise, tell them to come and talk to me.
By the way.
Okay, well, thanks for coming and gracing us with your company.
See you next year.